All right, y'all. This is going to be a little, I'll say this is going to be a little different. Um, we are trying to stream on everything. So quality is terrible. Can't read anything. Oh, on the messages, or I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm trying to see because this is different. I'm doing something different where I'm streaming to all the different platforms right now. So basically, we are currently on Facebook, we are currently on TikTok, we are currently on Twitch, and we are currently on YouTube. And this is just the board. Okay. Uh, I don't know if that maybe helps. I'm not sure. So we're just streaming on different platforms, and it's just the thing is just basically to get information out there. You should be able to see it with easier. You should have a better visibility towards being able to see what it is I'm showing. The chat is just there for because the thing is, since we're streaming on different platforms, we're trying to see if we can make it so that everybody can see the questions. Because sometimes people ask questions on TikTok that YouTube can't see. Sometimes somebody pops into Facebook and they say something that YouTube and TikTok can't see. So it's basically to try to see if we can incorporate having all these different platforms working at the same time so that way we can build a little network of veterans to ask these questions or get these questions answered. In some cases, even if it comes to dependents or spouses or kids or something that are tuning in, if you got any questions towards it, make sure to ask them. This is basically a free resource. We do this to enable everyone to be able to obtain this information. This is guiding you to the benefits you've earned, and even if you're not the service member, as a dependent, you still earned a lot of benefits that some people don't realize they don't understand they have. So it's just something basically to enable people, to allow them to understand that it's just like, yes, we have all these resources, but most of the time veterans have no idea what these resources are, where to find them, and stuff like that. So it's just basically to make sure to like get on screen so that we can start doing more of these and just have people asking questions, like anything that pops up, anything of the sort, or any topics basically related to the VA. I got no issue like going over them or talking about them and stuff like that, so it makes it easier. um you can tell that for some reason it's it's different because this is the first time I'm actually doing it this way, where I can actually see, or I think I can see the chat for everybody, not necessarily the outcome that is happening. For some it's possible, for some it's not. I'm trying to see if the stuff pops up, but for some it's not really popping up or highlighting what it's saying, so that's why it's a bit of confusion, I would say. But otherwise everything should be running smoothly. So if the board isn't as good, I apologize. I just figured it would be an easier way to have people to visualize what was going on, because like I said, there's a bunch of statements and questions that go everywhere. What mic do I have? This is a MV7 right now. How much was it? If you look at the microphone, the MV7 is on sale now. This is the older version though. So just keep that in mind. This is the old MV7 because the new one is a USB-C plug. This one is still an older USB like micro one. So um same thing, but it's an XLR and a regular USB plug. So that's the versatility of this one. So it's easier, it sounds great, or at least I believe it sounds great. Um but that's just there for people to be able to see and people will be able to hear me, but that's the easier way to do it. They have the latest version, which I think is a bit more expensive, but if you can find the older one, still works well. It's just a plug and play. You just plug it in and go off of it like that. So uh but yeah, well, people are tuning in, you got questions, just hop in, ask questions. um I'll be working on updating stuff while people are having any questions or chats or whatever the case may be. Um, like I said, it's difficult. I can't tell if I'm getting or receiving. So I can see all of the things, but I can't really see the messages. I was just like, from Nebraska, what's up, Nebraska? How's the winter cold hitting you right now? Because I know the winter cold is like, I think for me it feels like -22. I think is what they the last time I looked at it. So I could only imagine. Us in the Midwest right now, it's cold. I'm just trying to make sure I could. I don't know, but yeah, that's the thing. I'm in R of Kansas or Arkansas. Yeah, it's this whole region. Everything is cold in this region right now, so it's not even like you can't even deal with it. The whole region is cold. We're just trying to stay warm, trying to figure out. So kids had a snow day, so I figured I might as well just jump on here, chat with people, see who tunes in. People tune in or not. I know it's a Tuesday at 2, so I know the timing may not be the best, but I just figured people that jump on, they got questions, they'll ask their questions. If they don't have questions, that's fine too. We're just trying to see how this operates and see how it works because we are streaming to multiple platforms and just trying to see if it actually works well so that way I know I can stream to all locations at the same time so my computers won't like blow up or something. Uh, if I were a Pokemon, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Okay, let's see what we got. If I go to this one, see if we go to this one, it changes the thing. I don't know why it looks so dark. Was it that filter? Hold on, I gotta do something with that. See if we change it because it looks way too dark. Let's see if that works better. See, I can see it better. Dude, this guy's just coming with the questions. I don't know. It's not a VA related question, so I'm not sure how to answer you on both sides of the door. But like I said, this is the ongoing thing. We have these things going on. We are still working on the website. Website is linked at the top. Plot, appreciate you as always. That's off of Twitch, so I did get that. I did receive that. My TikTok for some reason doesn't look like it's running or operating. Um, but it is showing that. Appreciate the 30 bits plot. Because the thing is like I like to listen to music while I'm doing this. Lately, I haven't been doing that, but I started doing it. But you have to like separate the stuff. You can't have it. Um, you can't like you can play some music on Twitch, but then on the VOD, it has to make sure it's off. On everything else, you can't really play music. TikTok kind of allows music, so it's not too bad. Um, but yeah, that's so. Here we go with this. But yeah, if people got questions, go ahead and ask. That's the main thing of this. I may hold on. Let me do something real quick. I'll be back. All right. Um, Try TikTok again, see if it starts it up or not. Not too sure. How does this connect to veterans? What part? The va.gov part? The what part exactly? Because I have the website is definitely meant to assist veterans. Um, just to give them information, give them documentation, give them VA forms, stuff like that. Just to basically like put all that info together so that people understand like, hey, there are resources out there for veterans to use, depending on where they're at, where they're located. It's different. Each state is built differently. Each state is going through changes. So it's paying attention to what the resources are that are available for veterans in each state. Uh, it's kind of like what I'm doing with this, which is developing the pages. Yo, grip. I'm glad to hear that. Those little stories I love to hear. Channel helped me for sure. Just got my rating for tinnitus with back pay for 8 months. Following this channel and suggestions. Have new CMP exam now for mental health. Thanks again. Hey, Grip, if you got any other questions leading towards it, it's I'm glad to hear that. 8 months of back pay is always amazing. Whatever amount it is, that is always amazing to hear, always amazing to see. So I'm glad you got that. But yeah, it's just this is just free information. This is stuff that's out there. This isn't anything new. This is stuff that's out there for people to observe, use, and stuff like that. This is what the website is starting to look like. I'm going to make like I'm working on specific pages. And it's just like so each state is gonna have their own pages. So I'm just trying to develop it. I'm trying to figure out a format that'll work so that I can keep that format for all the states. So it's not like too much work. So basically, the beginning, of course, is going to be the beginning, which is the flag and stuff like that. But I'm trying to see if I can incorporate it and remove the flag and maybe put it somewhere else so that it's beneficial for people. Because obviously, you're going to know what it is, but it's just picking where the state is, like the drop down and stuff like that to get to the state. But remember, there's a bunch of other stuff that's within the website as we continue to grow it. But whatever the capital is, whoever the governor is, what the veteran population is, these are the different things that I want to make for everybody. Just basically like the state VA offices, property tax exemptions, education benefits, recreational benefits, state resource links, veteran-owned businesses, and state veteran homes. So with the veteran owned business, what I would like to do is I would like to get people that are veterans that have veteran owned businesses. Basically that's what it is, but nothing that's like a major thing. So these are like the smaller businesses that veterans have, not the major corporations or something like that, but just to try to incorporate it so that veterans understand that within their state there's available businesses that some people choose like, hey, I want to serve veterans. I want to make sure that I am how can I put it, they want to make sure that they are the ones taking care of stuff, and you're watching it and you're you're taking care of. Just remember that you're taking care of, and it's just like looking at it in this way. But veterans tend to stick together and they tend to like buy stuff from veteran or veteran owned shops. Like most of the time we have a different touch to what the veteran resource is, or whether it's woodworking or whatever businesses there are out there, even if it's like educational purposes, so that way it's more of a better understanding within the state of what your state has to offer. Because the thing is there's the federal level benefits, which we went over in the past workshops these past like 5 weeks. And then we have the definite, you have the workshops explaining that federal benefits, then you have state benefits, and each state is built differently. Some provide more than others. And then sometimes you have even local stuff, and local stuff can be like discounts that some of the stores in your community offer, stuff like that. So those are the big resources that a lot of veterans don't tend to use. I know when it comes to the veteran discount is like some places you go to offer it, most places don't offer it, but if you don't ask or don't know about it, it's kind of difficult to figure out like, oh, okay, they offer a discount, or if I do this as a veteran, what happen, like stuff like that. So each one of these will be like incorporated to provide that. Um, and then it's just changing it to state VA offices, the home property tax, so that it'll take you to the link or at least to the location of where it is. Because a lot of the stuff here, like if you go to va.gov, a lot of the stuff is there. The thing is this site is very overwhelming. So it's just like, hey, let me make a website that basically provides the information for veterans, but it's not overwhelming to look at, because there's a lot of stuff that shows up that is just like people have questions or they don't know what questions to ask. In some cases, like when I have the community page, with the community page, I have it there so that people have that availability. So you have the ability to go and get these answers, or look up specific things. Um, but it just changes it that way, so that that way you have the opportunity to find this information. If you don't, it's just like this. Va.gov is tedious enough. Then there's chooseva.gov, which is basically a better looking version of va.gov. Provides the same information, but it's just like a different website to do it. Which is interesting at the same time, because it's just like, why would they do that? But you don't know. That's the thing. It's just like, why would you make a separate website that basically does the same thing, but it's the same, like within the same like, I don't know. Me is just making it so that it's difficult. Like one of the biggest things I would say from the website is the VA forms. That is the biggest part of it, I would say. But that way, that way that information is there and it's available to people. So got the business and then pictures, ads. Split the ads up. So that it has this stuff. But like I said, it's different. There's so much information available for veterans that veterans don't understand where to find it, don't know where to go. So this is just a, hey, like, hey, if you got questions, ask. Don't hesitate to ask. Because at the same time, these same questions are beneficial to you because you get an answer, but then also you may be assisting another veteran that maybe just didn't know how to formulate or put those words together to make what it is. And that happens a lot. Where some veterans don't know what to do or don't know what documents to use. Hey, Annette, what's up? So this is just a way of assisting veterans to do that. But like I said, it varies on the questions, it varies on answers, but it's always trying to get people the best answer possible. But it's just working on the website, trying to make a template for each page so that way we know what we're incorporating. Um, thanks for the graveyard stuff. I did not know that stuff. Yeah. I so what I did, Annette, was like for a lot of that stuff. So what I'm doing is most of the time the shorts are easier for me to do and like just push out, because both the videos that I do, so the Did You Know series and the Veteran Quick Tips, those are both videos that I have for my stuff. Oh no, there's a lot of stuff there. It's just like there's a lot of like what I notice is a lot of the stuff is just like when you look at it the first time around, is just like they just give you the I guess you could say like the important information so that people don't. What about personal? So it doesn't matter if it's submitted on a Word document or should you use the VA form? No, you use the grip. You use the VA form for personal statements. If that means that you have it like on a Word document, what you can do is I have the Word document on the website also. So if you go to, let me show you. Hold on. So this is the website. If you go to the website, you go to resources and you can go to VA forms. So you click on VA forms, it's going to take you to the, like, what I call the directory. So a statement in support of claim for mental health disorders, or lay witness statement, which would be this one. So you just hit download on there. Once you hit download, it basically takes you to the link of the to the Google Drive, and then from there you would be able to download the thing. Anytime you are filing anything, you want to make sure that it is on a VA document. You want to always make sure it's on a VA document. You don't want to see, and you can write your own personal statement. It's the 21-4138, and the lay and witness statement is the 21-10210. Where can I leave questions? Um, the contact us, Annette. You can go to contact us, and from there it should take us to this and gives us a your name, email, and a message, and it should send it to us. That I don't know if people have been sending it because I haven't received anything, so I don't know if it's working or not. So if you do send it, it would definitely assist with that. But yeah, I have the contact us for any questions, suggestions, anything like that that you may have. Just don't hesitate to like submit it there. That's the best way, or just reaching out through our email is the best way to reach, and like leave an email so I can see it. Um, yeah, because contact us is the best way. Ask questions through there. Resources, we got VA forms, disability benefit questionnaires, government representation, and VA Nexus letters. The Nexus letters, like I said, it's not a Nexus letter. It is basically a template for you to at least be able to give to your medical provider, like, hey, this is what I need filled out. This is what it looks like. So if you go to Nexus letters, VA Nexus letters, you go, it gives you, I just broke it down as the purpose of it, who writes it, what it includes, and why is the letter needed. And then it just gives you an example. Same thing. You go to the bottom, click on the example part. You click on it, and then from there, there's an extra guidance one which has a bit more. I would say it's like a little bit more detailed information as to what you need to provide in there, so that you know. Because the thing is most people don't know what a Nexus letter actually looks like. So a lot of veterans get turned away, or, get told no, they're not going to do it because they have no idea what it is that they're putting. Um, so if you provide this to your private doctor, they at least know, oh, okay, this is what this form is supposed to look like. This is what I'm supposed to fill out, and this is how I'm supposed to help assist. Because the thing is a lot of the times you hear vets will be like, look, man, my doctor didn't want to write a Nexus letter. I just like, you got to look at it this way. If you are telling a person or asking a person, hey, can you write me a letter saying that this caused this, but you're not providing a format, you're not providing anything. It's just like he can write a Nexus letter, but it's not going to look like this. So it may not hold as much weight. It might look like, you know what, the information is there, but how many providers make sure to put their information, how much is like their certification or their license number, how it shows on here, like this is important information for it. And the example, if we show it, I was like, it just shows there. Where's it at? Which one is this? Oh, I gotta change that. Hold on, I gotta switch that. I have to switch that page now that I realize it. Because the thing is, it's not leading to the correct link. So stuff like that, that's the stuff that is just like it's pertinent stuff, because it's just like, oh damn, I didn't realize that link wasn't going there, even though I swore I put it that way. But you have instances of that where it happens, where the wrong link may be working and stuff like that. That's just like important stuff to know, so that way it's just like, hey, I have a website that's running that y'all can actually use in the correct manner. So I need to go to, give me 1 second while I fix this. because it's a good thing about having these streams too, because then it allows me to, show stuff, and then now I'm also double checking it, which is the biggest thing. Because a lot of times it's just like, hey, if I don't check it, like I made the site, I wasn't sure that was the case, so Avin share. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, now I should be able to go back here to edit this. All right, that one is now in there. Now let me just go back because I have the other. Where is the guidance? Is it the example letter? No, right? I have to find the other document. Oh, what did I link it to? Because that's the other one that I have is basically a claim service for PTSD. So I need to make sure I have the right file because clearly at the moment I do not. So I think I might have started that file and I didn't like complete it. And then I just published a page thinking that I had anything because it was just like copying the other button. So it didn't give me the proper document. Okay, here it goes. So this has to be sent to here. Okay, I figured it out, y'all. And that's the thing. It's just like I can't see. None of the other ones are giving messages. It should be all connected, but it's the internet, man. Yeah, how's everybody's day going though? How's everybody doing today? How's how's the weather for y'all? I think it's the better question because for me right now, weather is not great. It is freezing, like literally freezing outside. So it's just seeing that, but trying to keep warm. So I decided might as well just post, hang out, stream a little, answer any questions if people have questions, but then also try to work on the website while we're doing 61 degrees and oh man, I wish that shit. It is nowhere near that here. Nowhere. It is currently, let me see. It is currently 2 degrees here. It is 2 degrees, but it feels like negative 17. And it's snowing. So the thought of actually going outside to shovel this snow today, not happening. That's staying there. I'm not concerned. It was like that can hold it can hold off. Cause man, I saw that it was in the negatives. I was just like, yeah, this is not for me. I was just like, let me get ahead of this snow just in case, because sometimes it's like a heavy snowfall. It's supposed to be like 5 inches, but when it's snow and then it's just like freezing outside, it depends on how that snow feel. Oh, no, not that one. It's this one. Additional section. Share. Anyone with the link, copy this link. Open a new tab. Okay, so the page should be updated now where the links should be the template to. Let me just make sure it's opening up correctly. Yes, it gives you the template to the Nexus letter, and then the extra guidance is just literally like the extra guidance that's on there so that you can look into it and be a bit more in depth. I remember that when I lived in Annette, I'm in Kansas. I was just like, I'm used to it because I was at Fort Riley, so it's not. I wouldn't say I'm used to it because it's been a long time since I've decided to be in this kind of weather, but No, here we are. here here we are dealing with this weather, but we have it that way. Like I said, it's sorry. So the website is updated. Okay. So now if we look at the website, you have the VA Nexus letters, the why the letter's needed, who writes it, what it includes, the purpose of it. Then from there you got the example, and then you got the extra guidance. So basically extra guidance is just like the extra tidbits that'll be beneficial for you to add or make sure that you include in there. Because one part I did notice about that was when it came to the Nexus letters, one part of it or one section of the Nexus letter that I did not realize was having your medical provider provide uh like a counter to what possibly the CMP exam said. So let's say you are filing a Nexus letter, right? And you decide to pull your C file, basically your VA records and all that stuff. So literally it would be your doctor looking at those records and be like, well, this is contradictory to my findings, or what they diagnosed him with was incorrect, him or her, stuff like that, information like that, that is basically your doctor doing it. Oh, Grip, I appreciate you, man. Hey, we're just here to help people. That's all we do. I appreciate the donation, the super chat. I appreciate that. But that's what it is, man. It's just like it's it's a lot of veterans that don't have, like, this is all, like, that's the thing. It's like it's free information. It's just difficult because some veterans don't look at it that way. Some veterans, like, I've learned from experiences, from my own experience when it came to getting to 100% PNT, but then it's also talking to other veterans, talking to see what their problems is, what their what they didn't do, or sometimes it's even something that they didn't think of, because a lot of the times it's something that a veteran didn't think of to provide for his claim, like buddy statements, witness statements, um imagery, any kind of documentation and stuff that you have, something tying to it. The biggest one is your personal statement. Most veterans don't even know they can make their own personal statement, and that one alone is like one of the biggest ones, because it's just like you need to explain to these people what it is you're dealing with. That's what it is. You need to be able to explain to a random person what is your issue. You need to be able to provide a document or a claim and submit it to somebody that doesn't know who you are, and they need to be able to tell you what's wrong with you. It's the same thing with the VA rater. It's different because they already kind of know what it is you're talking about. Carmen was, I didn't until today. You didn't until today. What was that, Carmen? I was just like, those are the things that, like, I don't know if you meant like the personal statement, but that personal statement is very, I wouldn't say that it's just like, I would say it should be mandatory for everybody to do that. Oh, Carmen Williams, no problem. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. But those are the things that people like. A personal statement goes because you are providing a more in-depth, like in writing statement of what you deal with, what you are experiencing. Because the thing is the reason I say a personal statement can hold a lot of weight is because a lot of the times when veterans go to the CMP exams, either nerves hit them, or they don't want to say something and they do want to say something and they're not sure. Put that shit in writing. Write down the stuff that you have problems with. Write down the injury. Write down what it is, because it helps paint that picture for that VA rater. Because the thing is like, speaking with veterans and stuff, right? When it comes to the CMP exam, with the CMP exam, most veterans shoot themselves in the foot. The reason I say that is when it comes to a veteran going to a CMP examination, right? Most of the time, that veteran is having a better day. I was just like, you made it to the VA, so you aren't that bad. But at the same time, it's just like you're not mentioning why it's bad. or how bad it gets or what's the worst you've dealt with. When you deal with it like that and you put it like that and you're able to communicate that with a CMP examiner, it's a lot different because now you're able to voice all the stuff that bothers you and stuff like that. If you're not able to do that and you know you're a person that tends to tense up or freeze up or you're just when somebody asks you, I'm fine, that shoots you in the foot when it comes to a CMP evaluation. Because the thing is yes, you're doing okay today, but at my worst, every other day, daily, those are the things you have to mention as to how it's affecting you negatively. Today, you know what? My back ain't spasming that bad. But usually on a daily basis, I am on muscle relaxers because my back is always twitching. Or I have to take pain meds because the pain is unbearable here. If I start doing this, or if I walk too many steps in the day, on the back end of the day, I'm gonna feel it the next morning because my back tenses up. So, like stuff like that, those are statements that need to be put in there because a lot of the times you're not stating that. You're not making that statement when you go to these CMP exams. You're just like, yeah, you're just waiting. Like literally, you're just waiting for a question. And that's how a lot of veterans go into the CMP exams, just waiting for a question, but not knowing how to answer a question. Because the thing is most of the time, if you look at the CFR, if you look at the CFR, which you look at the Code of Federal Regulations, it tells you what it is that they're basically going to ask you. It may not be in that same wording. It may not be the same wording that they use for that's in the CFR. They may give it a little twist, but it's still the same stuff. They're still going to ask you how it affects you, how it bothers you, how does it mess with your daily activities, and that's things that it's best to write down because of the fact that when you're in person at the CMP exam, you're going to remember certain things, but when you're gone, they're going to be like, damn, I didn't even tell them about this. Damn, I forgot to mention this part. I forgot to tell them about that incident, all that stuff. That's why it's like you got to make sure you writing that stuff down. Because with a statement, you can write it down and just start filling the statement out as you go. Doesn't mean you have to make sure that statement gets filled immediately. You can build and start writing a personal statement. Because remember, when you do the intent to file, you have a whole year. From that whole year, you can give yourself 3 to 4 months to just start notating all the stuff that you can't do the same because of the disability you're claiming. Because you got to remember, each claim is different. If you have hip injuries, that affects you in one way, whereas migraines affect you in a different way. So you putting it in there and saying like, look, the way my hip is affected is I can't run, I can't walk on a thing, I can't use the thing and stuff like that. Yeah, incinerator definitely. That's the main thing. Man, you don't that's the thing. I don't need to wish you luck, man. You got this. Just know what you're claiming. You know what you're claiming. You know what you're dealing with. Write it down so that when they ask you those questions, you can be like, "Hey, this is the stuff." Because you can easily just be like, look, the reason I wrote this down, if they ask you, it's like, what are you reading? I was just like, this is the stuff that I know is bothering me, but I'm having issues with my memory, which can be caused by anxiety or any mental health issue or just stress or just being here. It's just like, you can just make sure to notate that to them like, hey, I got this and this is what I'm going so that when you ask me questions, I don't forget to mention stuff that I know I'm dealing with. Make sure that you're making it your personal issues so that way that CMP examiner understands specifically what it is, but you don't got to worry about it because you also have it in a personal statement. So in case that VA rater or that CMP examiner did not capture or was not able to jot down everything that you've been in there, you have it in your personal statement already. So incinerator, what you got your examination on Friday. From here to Friday, start putting in a statement, start writing a statement, start putting it together. So that way you have your CMP exam, but then on Friday, you also upload your personal statement. So that way it's just like, okay, the CMP examiner got this information, but the personal statements has this additional information, because both of the stuff should match. What you're telling the CMP examiner should match what's in your personal statement, but in your personal statement, you can probably go a bit more in depth and just have the stuff in there. Because that's a lot of stuff that people don't understand. It's just like you can go in there like, look, everybody goes into that CMP exam like, yo, I got this. I know this. I got this information. Boom. You sit down in that chair, they hit you with two different questions, and you just like, bro, where am I? You're like, what the hell is going on here? How did I even get here? And then it's just like, bro, I don't even know how to answer this shit. And then that shit just throws you for a loop. And then you can have a bad, you have end up having a bad exam. You end up not getting the rating that you deserve. And now you're going through the appeal process because you didn't do your due diligence. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing, is just like, as veterans, we need to make sure we are doing our due diligence. Write stuff down. There's nothing wrong with writing it down. Make a note, make a journal of this stuff. And then when you're going to provide that stuff, you have that and you put that in a personal statement and you submit that document like, hey, look, I got this issue. Whatever it is, you can go to the table of contents, musculoskeletal, auditory, like Grip said with the tinnitus. It says what it is. You just go through here. Hey, what can I get for it? Tinnitus recurrent, 10%. But if it's something else, you look at it and it's just like, oh, I got this. Oh, I have that. Okay, how does tinnitus affect you? How does it affect you on a daily basis? How does it sound when somebody flatlines in your ear all the time? How does that affect your balance? Does it mess with your balance? Does it not? Does it start causing headaches? Is it leading towards migraines? Stuff like that is important to mention, because the thing is you are making, you got to remember, you yourself are making a paper trail. You have to make the paper trail also. Don't make it on the VA. Don't tell the VA, it was just like, oh man, y'all need to get this shit. No, you need to make sure your stuff is right before you try to put it on the VA to make sure their stuff is right. The VA messing up, don't get me wrong on that. But you need to pay attention to that. You need to look at those things, because the thing is if you're not paying attention, who else is gonna pay attention? If you filing if you're the one filing a disability claim, you're the one that should make sure that your disability claim is correct. But at the same time, you're the one that needs to make sure that you voice what it is that's bothering you. Because if you can't do that, the VA rater ain't gonna know any better. If that tinnitus is causing migraines sort of stuff, it was just like, hey, at first, maybe you don't file for migraines because you don't have it diagnosed. But at the same time, you have that in the CMP exam being written down like, hey, I've been getting more headaches lately because of it. I'm not sure if it's migraines, but I've had a couple of bad ones. That's something that's notated, because stuff like that they will notate, because that's stuff that's crucial to them making their examination points. Because first they're gonna go through the CFR to see what you fall under, what it is. If it's musculoskeletal, got to go through the process of what it is, but then they're going to go through, the examination of joints, range of motion, and stuff like that. Is the VA really going to try to get me the lowest rating you can? No, Incinerator. So they are not trying to get you the lowest rating they can. They are trying to get you the rating that fits what you are telling them or what your evidence is showing. That's what they're trying to do. Because the thing is when it comes to CMP exams, right? When you have certain issues, whatever the issue may be, if you have the proper documentation, if you have the evidence, you have the x-rays, CAT scans, MRIs, whatever it is, for whatever it is, and you have all that completed and good, when you go to that CMP exam, they don't usually ask you too many questions. Because most of the time, what they're doing is that whatever the issue they're looking up at, they themselves, the CMP examiner, is going to pull up your record on the information you have on there. So back issue or shoulder issue. Okay, what previous stuff does he have there? What documentation does he have? If you had a dislocated shoulder and then it hasn't been the same and that's why you have an issue, because of something that happened in service, that'll pop up. They're not going to try to get you a lower rating, but then it's going to be like, okay, I see the documentation that Incinerator has, right? But now I got to check to see what's his range of motion. His documentation shows he had a shoulder injury. It was in service. It's going to be service connected. But how bad is it? And that's when you have to look at the CFR, because then the CFR is going to break it down and take you to the section you need. Because see, there's hands or amputations. But if it's a shoulder issue, you got to find what the shoulder issue is. See, because it says torso, neck, pelvic, girdle, foot, and leg, forearm and hand for muscle injuries, but it's just checking which one it is, because it's foot, ankle, the knee and leg, hip and thigh, and that's them evaluating in this way. Same thing with this, the spine. What is it that's wrong with your spine? And some things get put together, some don't. So you shouldn't have a problem, Incinerator. So the biggest thing that you're trying to do is that when you are being asked these questions, just give them an explanation. Because the thing is I can assure you, with having all that stuff and it being shown that it happened in service, you're not gonna have to go through the craziness of answering the CMP examiner turning into 50 Cent and asking you those 21 questions. It's not gonna happen. He's gonna ask you questions is like, all right, how does this affect you? How does it do this? Like, because it depends also, but it's questions off of the CFR. So like in the case of migraines, for me, when they ask, is just like, he didn't bother to ask. He just asked me how many times and how bad do they get. Yeah, see, and that's I know people get nervous. Because some people, hey, look, some people are good test takers, some are not. This isn't a test because you already have the answers. The thing is that sometimes people tense up when it comes to answering. So you just got to make sure if you have it written down and you have talking points of what you are dealing with, it's so much easier to just be like, okay, I went over this, I went over that, I have this, I have my notes, and then they'll be like, they might look at you like, why does he have notes? Or they might look at it skeptical, but it's just like, hey, look, I have issues with my memory. And I just wanted to make sure I voiced all these things. And these are things that I mentioned that are part of my claim. And these are the ways that it affects me. So I just wrote everything down. And you can explain that to them and they'll be more understanding. Because sometimes people just like, but like I said, you have your evidence, you have the documentation, you have what you need. It's more of a, okay, let's answer the issues with the CFR with what the rating does. So whatever it is you're claiming, find it on the CFR, and the CFR is going to tell you what it is. See, because auditory, I already showed you the table, and then they show you that, and it tells you what it is, like the differentiation of level of that you're dealing with. And that'll change stuff also. The chronic fatigue syndrome, if you got it, explains what it is. Now you know from what you state and what your evidence shows what you might fall under. So it's not that the rater or the CMP examiner is trying to get you the lowest amount. They are trying to verify that the issues you have, the documentation that has showing, goes in line with what percentage here. Because then they're going to put, oh, he has this, he has that, his range of motion is this, and that. Then the VA rater is going to take that information, take your evidence, and see, okay, CMP examiner does say yes, he does have these issues. These are the things that are wrong with him. He has that. Okay, this is the percentage or the range of motion. All right, I got that information. Now the VA rater is going to go here. I was just like, okay, it's a skeletal issue. All right, gotta check skeletal. And I gotta scroll to whatever section it is or whatever the issue is, and I need to check it. And I need to see what it is. Oh, it's an ankle injury. What's the flexion? And it tells you flexion, stuff like that. Oh, the flexion is less than 40 or more than 40%. All right, so this is that percentage. So if you got this percentage, then that VA rate is gonna go and just like, oh, implantar flexion at more than 40%. So since he has it at more than 40%, or in dorsiflexion at more than 10%, or with abduction, adduction, whatever the case may be. So if they're going off of that, I was just like, okay, he's at the 40% mark for this rating. So for that ankylosis, he's at 40%. Oh, he doesn't have it. The plantar flexion is between 30 and 40. Okay, that's the percentage that the CMP examiner got for me. He falls under the 30% rating. You see what I'm saying? So that's how they're going. They're not trying to, like, that's the thought sometimes that the VA raters are trying to do that. The VA rater ain't trying to do that because that's how you get fired. If you blatantly are doing shit wrong, you're going to end up getting fired. Besides the fact that people are getting fired now indiscriminately, but you definitely going to get fired if you are going through and seeing veterans and you are rating them, and clear as day the information is there showing that they deserve a certain rating, but you gave them something else because you didn't do your job. That'll end up catching up. So, but that's something like I said, something to pay attention to. The rating that you get is the rating that you have. That's what you fall under. There's no there's no changing around with the CFR. The CFR is the CFR. It gets updated when new changes come in or new stuff gets implemented, but the rating criteria stays the same. It's you fulfilling your documentation, your statements, your evidence, and it happening or being tied to the military service. Because that's the biggest thing. What you're doing is you're getting service connection. It's not proven that you have this issue because you clearly have it. It's proven that the military caused it, and that's the other part. That's the background part that people tend to forget. Also, when it comes to that personal statement, they don't know who you are. They don't know what your job is. They don't know what you did as your job. I was just like, hey, you could have been Camo. At least for the Army, that's what, 25 series. You could have been Camo, but you got attached to a infantry unit or a Cav Scout unit, and you were up there rucking and doing all these runs and doing all that stuff. It was just like, they don't know that. They don't know that. Nobody knows that. You're the only one that knows what you went through. Because if you talk to another veteran, they don't have no idea what you did while you were in service. So now you're expecting a random person that probably never served in the military to understand you? That's recipe for failure, guys. That's all it is. Unfortunately, that's what it is. It's a recipe for failure. Because if you're not getting that stuff, you failing yourself. I can't control that. But like I said, you can be attached to any different group, any division, any battalion, any company. They don't know that. A VA rater has no idea what you did. Because the thing is if they're looking at it, shit. Oh, you were S1. Yeah, they didn't do nothing, and they could be completely wrong. You could have been an S1, like I said, attached to infantry. I was chemical. I got attached to everybody. Oh, going with the Cav Scouts this time. Well, chemical thing. Let's do some chemical training out in the field for shits and giggles. All right, go here, get attached here, you get attached anywhere, but it was just like I did the same thing they did, but under my MOS, y'all see it as, oh, he's chemical. Oh, he got a deployment. Oh, he's chemical. That shit don't mean nothing to anybody. Some people just go off of, oh, they got this MOS, and it's not always just the MOS, but that's something that you need to have a personal statement to clarify. I worked as a Seaburn soldier, but I was also attached to infantry battalions. I was attached when it came to a GRTC rotation as a Seaburn expert to a Cav Scout unit. And I was just showing them how to do and teaching them how to set up a perimeter, how to set up sensors, all that stuff, alerts, alarms, and set up all that stuff. You get attached. What are you doing? You still rucking out there with them. You still doing all the training. You still in the foxhole. You still doing all that stuff. You still doing the ruck. You still doing recon. You're doing a lot of stuff, but nobody knows that. Nobody can explain that. If you don't put it in a personal statement, that person has no idea who you are. I don't know who you are. Sometimes I forget who I am. It's just like it's just like, and then you expect me to remember everything. It's just like if I don't know what you've gone through or what you're dealing with, I don't know. So you have to paint that picture for them. If it's a witness statement, look, if you are married, your spouse is dealing with your ass. Whether they like it or not, they still dealing with you. That is still a witness statement. I was just like, yo, it could just be a disgruntled spouse. It was like, look, this dude can't move around the house, so I gotta clean this. I gotta mow the grass. I gotta do this. I gotta take the trash out. I gotta clean this thing. I was just like, he can't move around the house, so I need to assist him with that. When he's going traveling or anything, I need to drive him. Like statements like that are beneficial to veterans because the thing is you have a person explaining their visualization of your issue while you're also writing what your issue is. Because this could just be a random, that personal statement from a witness can just be a statement of like, look, there was this one incident that I had with him when I was here. It was on this day. We went this place. He ended up falling or whatever the case may be. And it was just like, it caused that. And since then it's just progressively gotten worse. Statements like that and stuff like that is what benefits veterans. If you're not doing that, like I said, most of these VA raiders don't know what it is. There's a what? It was 1,000 people plus that got removed this go round with these cuts. That's not counting the people that chose to resign. That's the one part that a lot of veterans are missing. 1,000 people plus got dismissed. Most of them probationary, but then some were just like random people that were there that just got switched to a new position and they were in the probation and everything and they got removed, even though they were excellent workers for like the past 10 plus years. Stuff like that is happening. If you eliminate that, and then all the people that chose, you know what, y'all gonna pay me up ahead, I'll take this and I'll resign. Those people are gonna leave. You got to replace those people. And the more people you replacing, they need training. Some of them are going to be military. Some of them are going to be veterans. Unfortunately, most are not. So that's explaining and getting that information to people like, hey, make sure you are telling them your story. It's literally you're telling them your story, but connecting it to your time in service. Because if you're not connecting it to your time in service, it doesn't matter what you have or what you write. You have to establish that connection first. Then from there, once you know you have the connection of a disability rating, it's not that difficult to produce all the other stuff. Because once you can show, like, look, this is when it happened, this is the causes and all that stuff, that goes a long way because that shows it gets highlighted. But if that isn't, clarified, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you did. You got a back injury. You came into my CMP exam and you told me your back doesn't feel that bad today, and you left it at that. You didn't say it was worse, but then when you did the range of motion and stuff, you could tell you couldn't go all the way. So I notated that. But when you first came in, you told me you weren't feeling that bad. Veteran told me he was not feeling that bad. But then the following day, your ass can't get out of bed. Who's gonna know that? That CMP examiner ain't gonna know because you ain't write shit down. So that's what I'm saying. Those are the things that is just like this, the CFR, which, like I said, the workshop that we're gonna have on Sunday is basically going through this. This is gonna be long, so we might skip a couple of things, but it's just basically going through the CFR and going literally through ratings, just different ratings. There's over 3,000 different conditions that veterans can claim. Do I want to go over 3,000? No, I don't. That's a lot. But at the same time, this is information that I know will assist veterans more than all these other gimmicks and schemes and having a veteran pay for services when this is free. This document here is free for everybody to obtain, look at, read, gain information. And this is what benefits you when you go down the line when it comes to filing a disability claim. Because once you know what you can get, you already setting yourself ahead. Because the thing is if you know, hey, with the evidence and the stuff I got, would I love to get 50%? Of course, you would always want the higher rating. But if my evidence only shows I'm at 20%, then at least I know I can get 20%. Or at least that's what I'm going for. Because the thing is now you are setting yourself up to know what the percentages are that you believe or know you should obtain. Because then it's easier also to fight that as an appeal or something like that. Because it's like, hey, if I got osteomyelitis, acute, subacute, or chronic, and I know that, it's been inactive. So I know I'm at the 10%. I'm not going to get mad and be like, oh, they did everything wrong in the CMP examiner when I thought I was going to get 60. Because that's another thing with veterans also, that it's just like some veterans think that everything is this. Everything is 100% rating. And that's where a lot of people, it's just like a lot of people mess that up also, because it's just like you may be going through a lot of pain. You may be dealing with a lot of issues because of a certain disability, but that disability may not be rated at 100%. That disability may only get you 30. A lot of the stuff that comes to like muscles and joints and stuff like that, maybe 30, 40%, depending, because you got to remember for some, is it your strong arm, your dominant hand, or your non dominant hand? If it's your non dominant hand, it's like 10% lower. If it's your dominant hand, it's higher. Because it's like, hey, if you having issues with your main hand, then yes, you will get a higher rating. But if it's your offhand, it's like, yeah, you need it, you can use it, but it's not important as your dominant hand. And stuff like that. Those are little explanations that it's just like it goes a long way. Just explaining that to any veteran. It's just like prosthetic implants and resurfacing. Shoulder replacement. You got a prosthesis for 1 year following the implantation. So it's telling you, hey, you're gonna get 100% when this happens. With chronic residuals consistent of severe painful motion or weakness in the affected extremity. So basically it's telling you, hey, look, for 1 year, you will be paid at the 100% mark, which is one of those that falls under the 100% temporary part. Whereas just like we are paying you at the 100% level because of the fact that we identify that you just got a prosthesis. For the next year, we know that you are going to have to be getting used to it. You're probably going to go to physical therapy and you have to get, acclimated with it. So you're going to get 100%. But then it becomes with chronic residuals consisting of severe painful motion or weakness in the affected extremity, then it's just like it says, see, major or minor. Is it your dominant? If it's your dominant, you got 60%. If it's your offhand, it's 50. But then the minimum you can get is 30 or 20. So literally, if you are getting a shoulder prosthesis, the minimum you can get is 30 or 20, depending if it's your dominant hand or your non-dominant hand. But at the same time, you're going to get paid 100 for that first year. And then if it's bad, 60 or 50. If not, 30 or 20. Most people think, man, I just got a whole arm replaced or shoulder joint replaced. That's 100%. And it doesn't work that way. And that's where it's like that small clarification goes a long way, because it's just like, look, man, I understand. You got a whole new arm. It's not 100%. Look at the stuff that people go through just with the mental health. It was just like mental health alone, if you look at it, mental health alone has all these different criteria. All these different things here are all stuff. The ones that are removed are no longer in use and they changed it or they tied it into something else. But these are all the things, and this is the rating criteria: 100 to 0%. Eating disorders, different, but 0 to 100%. Some people think, oh, I'm diagnosed with depression or I'm diagnosed with anxiety. I got insomnia, this, and that. And they just think, oh, because I can't sleep is 100. No, it doesn't have. It falls into this criteria where you need to know. And basically, this rating goes off of how you explain yourself. So if you need to write it down and they're saying how it is that you have that social impairment or that total impairment, it's just like that clarifies that, because then it's just like, oh, okay, this is why. Not because he has anxiety, because he has anxiety. It's diagnosed. How bad does it affect him? Does it not let him like go outside, stuff like that? That's all on you on the CMP exam. So that's something that people need to keep in mind also. It's just like those little mentions, those little talks go a long way, because it explains like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the factors. These are my factors. This is what I'm dealing with as a veteran. as a veteran that served this country and stuff like that, this is what I'm dealing with. And that's there. And then if you need that assistance, you go to the website, you go to resources, you go to VA forms, and also you fill out your disability benefit questionnaire. Because if you have an annexus letter, you might as well get the DBQ filled out by your doctor also. And then you got the forms here. You go to it, click on whatever you need, use it that way, and you're done. Now you have the evidence, you have the information, you have your documentation, you have your medical provider and stuff like that. Now it's just you doing your part and answering questions. Just know that they're going to ask that. How does it affect you? How does it affect you on a daily? What are you unable to do? What one of the questions I know they like to ask, what is something that may aggravates it? And that's an important answer that a lot of people don't. What aggravates this issue? And that's one of the biggest questions that a lot of veterans, I think, mess up on is just like, what aggravates this issue? So your shoulder, what aggravates it? Is it doing a certain motion? Is it doing that? Like, hey, if I pick something up, it's painful. Like I get a sharp thing or whatever the case may be. You just have to explain what it is that it's affecting you as. And that's, like I said, that can be in a statement, but that's a question they're going to ask. Like, what aggravates your thing? What makes it feel better? Because they'll ask that because the thing is just like sometimes they'll be like, hey, I need medication. If you already on the medication is already a sign. It's just like you're getting assisted on this and it's showing that. And make sure to put your medication on there. If you're getting prescriptions and stuff like that, put it on there, even though it's already going to be in your record because they're being prescribed. But in cases like that, sometimes you got to remember it's not always that your private medical provider is talking to your VA medical provider. So you need to make sure that if you are getting medical prescriptions from your private doctor, have that documentation or have that as part or within your Nexus letter. Like, hey, this person has been dealing with these back spasms for however long. I've placed them on muscle relaxers since then. This is the muscle relaxer at this not prescription. Yeah, basically the prescription. This is what I put it at. So it's this many milligrams or whatever the case. This is what it is. And then the VA sees that and they'll be like, oh, okay. Like for me with migraines, that's why my thing with migraines was easy because while I was in service, I had that. I had a bunch of migraines that were bad. I got put on medication for it. The medication wasn't that great, so I just started using it was like the over the counter, but like the strongest one possible because they didn't want to give you something strong. But I was just like, I kind of need it. And then I put that on there. They saw it. He saw it and he was just like, I was like, yeah, I took some medication. I was like, I can't remember the name of what it was. He was like, oh, no, I pulled it up. And he saw it and he's just like, okay. And then he saw that I had a history of like a couple of years of having these migraines, going to get seen for them, stuff like that. I denied the whole steroid shot because I'm like, this is something I would have to keep on doing. And I don't want to do that. Because the thing is I don't want to keep on worrying about getting a shot to help with my migraines. So I just try to figure it out, and I dealt with it a lot. A bunch of times I would just go home and pass the hell out when I was like dead tired or something like that. And that's something you got to explain because, like I said, they don't know what you went through. They don't know how your migraines affect you. Is it to the point where you got to lay down? You got to turn off light? Can't have sound? Got to tell your kids to be quiet? Everybody in the house has to be quiet. Everybody's in like stealth mode or ninja mode to try to avoid like making too loud a noise and stuff like that. Those little statements and those little comments go very far. But it just most veterans don't think of that. Most veterans don't understand it and don't see it as just like, oh shit, I am dealing with that. This did cause that. I am having this issue, stuff like that. Those are all things that are important that need to be mentioned because you're not mentioning them. Nobody's going to mention it for you besides yourself. You're the only person that knows what's wrong with you, the issues you're dealing with, the anything in general. Your family knows. They can write stuff too. Once I said, just go onto the website and this, I don't know, is it live? Yep. And I'm live on the website too. So if you want to check it out that way, you can always check out the website. And if I am live, you can click on it and it'll show that I am live. So that's also a cool thing that within the website, if I'm ever live, it'll show you on the website when you're on there, and it'll just tune you in, and you'll be tuned into the live. Got the resources, stuff like that. Weekly workshops is what we do. The Did You Know playlist. That's the little snippets I have, and then the veteran quick tips, which I'll probably add here somewhere. Um, but those are the things that are placed in there. That's the stuff that you get information from. But this is the biggest thing, the CFR. Yeah, need to learn how to use this. Yeah, need to understand what your you need to understand what your issues are. That's what you need to understand. You need to understand what your issues are, how to describe them, how to have them in writing, how to make sure they're service connected, but also how to explain that to a person that doesn't know who you are and is going to ask you questions about what it is you're dealing with. Once you have that, you shouldn't have no problem, because if you got the documentation, the evidence is there. Now it's, hey, what else do I need to know about your info to do it? Because besides that, you ain't going to need anything else. If you have it and you know it's service connected and you can prove it's service connected, everything becomes easy after that. Then it's just like, okay, what percentage should I get? But then it's also calculating what it is, because it turns into the issue where a lot of veterans don't know. Let me see something. I had to do a nice little quick stretch right there. Um, but yeah, that's all information. This is all free information, y'all. On just like, if you wanna assist, or this has helped you out, become a member of the channel. It's $1. It's $1 a month. I get 70 cents out of it. It helps the channel out. It helps with the website and the creation of being able to try to make it fancier, I guess you could say. But there's no charge to this information. This is information. We do these tutorials, we do these workshops, we do these little tidbits to just give people that information that is there, but most people don't know. Like, for example, today's question on the community question was, there's reemployment, rapid access to employment, self-employment, employment through long-term services, independent living, and there are multiple tracks for what VA program. And the four different answers are the VRE program, the DEA program, the GI Bill, or the VA in processing program. So I just make questions like that so that way people start understanding. It's just like, these are the different things that you can do through these programs. And the answer to that one is the VRE program. But if you go to the community tab, that's what I basically have. If you go down every now and then, it's a question or a statement or something like that. But besides that, everything is just questions, just like questions for your informational knowledge and your informational awareness. Just that gives you people, a little answer that you may not have had or never thought of. The same way with while Mr. VRE. But yeah, that's why it's there, because it's just like, hey, it's to bring awareness, it's to give you that knowledge, like help you understand, like, hey, this is what you're gonna do, and this is what you're gonna deal with when it comes to it. So that way you have that information there, and it's plain as simple. I wouldn't say it's plain and simple, because the thing is a lot of the stuff that's there, like the did you knows and the veteran quick tips, are just information, just like a little, how can I say it? Oh, so that's why I may be having issues. There's no. Give me a second, y'all. I gotta fix up TikTok. I don't know if it's um, so I have to set up OBS. So I'll put OBS as the browser. So I should be reading it, but I'm not sure if it is or not. I don't know if it's hearing it or pushing it out. That's the only thing. Okay, y'all. So I'm having an issue where the TikTok is not picking up my sound. Um, Cause it should be. How do I? So that way it's, and then it should go to desktop audio. If I put it as a browser, it might not do it. I think it's listening in now, but I'm not too sure if TikTok is picking it up. So that way it picks it up better, but don't know. So we'll see. Not entirely sure if that did it, but that was, I guess, one of the issues that we were having, that TikTok was not able to actually hear what I was saying the whole time. So it was showing it. But thing is for some reason, I'm not seeing the messages that it's being sent through either. So that's one thing. But like I said, this is more one of those like trial. Is this frozen? Hold on. But yeah, this is an easy way to go on about this. And what's that taking up so many resources though? It's handling it, but you know. But yeah, that's the reason for those questions on there. It's a bad echo though. I don't know if that'll help it. I don't know if, because it's not considered a, because it has an echo. It should be reading that, but it's not. It's not picking it up right now. I don't know. I'm gonna have to mess with. I'm gonna have to mess with TikTok to make sure to fix it so I can see what it is that the issue is. Because right now I can't tell. They are able to hear it, but it says that it has a bad echo. I removed the part to it, but then it still kept it. So it's just trying to figure out what that is. See if that works, but I would have to make this. So I don't know. I'm not sure. 'Cause these is default. If it's browser, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to do something to figure that out because we need to make sure that the audio is at least going through. So, because basically I've been streaming on TikTok for the past hour and a half, I would say, and I wasn't. That's why nothing was going through because nobody could actually hear me. So that makes sense. Um, but yeah, that way it gives us the rundown because it has the information. I can't. It's not here and on TikTok. It's not going through. That's the one thing I'm having an issue. Everywhere else it can hear me. Facebook can hear me with no problem because we have our Veteran Awareness Project page on Facebook, so it's like a group slash page. We have our veterans. We have our YouTube one that is streaming regular, and it is also streaming to vertical. And we have our TikTok one, but our TikTok one is not receiving audio. So we're trying to see if we can fix that. So I don't know if it's still. Maybe it's working better now. But I don't know if I still have a double echo on TikTok. But like I said, that'll be something that we work on. But we wanted to do the stream to just like try it out, see what we can figure out. But yeah, as we continue, just you got questions or anything like that, any statements, um, grip. Appreciate for the $5 super chat. Incinerator. Like I said, I don't need to wish you good luck on there. I don't know if that helped it or because now it has like a double echo on there, but we'll see. I'm just trying to see how this all works. Then get the information out for people so that they can hear it. But like I said, y'all got anything, ask away. So I got it. It's reading it and it's showing up on there now because I just did that test one. So it shows up for Twitch. I have to log into YouTube, I guess, for some reason. Activate source. Okay, should be good now for that also. If I put test again. Okay, so now it has I do show up on Twitch, YouTube, and things. So if y'all got questions and stuff like that, it'll populate on either one. But like I said, that's also why we have the questions. Oh, so that way you can use the questions as you need. It's basically meant to. What the hell is going on with this? This is just the easiest way to be able to spread out information, I guess, to all different channels and all different sorts, so that way people can get that information and see it. Like I said, on multiple channels, we're on every platform. We'll try to figure out how to get ourselves on Instagram also, so we can do it all as like a joint, literally a joint stream, but streaming to all different levels, so that people can understand that, get their information and ask questions. Besides that, I don't have much else to go off of today. Like I said, this is basically, it was mostly to test out the stream to make sure that, it was a possibility. So now we know that we can stream to all the different platforms all at once and at least all be covered so people can see it, can hear it. And as they have questions, now everybody gets the same visual. So all the all the platforms get the same visual where it will show you and you will be able to see as I'm going through the stuff what it is. So if you got any questions and stuff like that, I'll be able to show it, and TikTok now will be able to see it, even though I think TikTok you have to like change the layout so that it's like you're folded sideways. Twitch is ongoing. YouTube is on vertical and regular mode. Um, excuse me. No. So this way, it's just basically the easiest way to do that. But like I said, if you have anything, check the YouTube channel. Links are provided on all the platforms. Just check out the YouTube. We got our workshops. We're working on something. Um, I think what's going to happen is that when you become a member, I think I might the members. As long as you're a member, I think I'm gonna change it that you get members only videos. All the workshops I think are just going to be free. So I'm gonna just put them all back out there because I've removed a whole bunch of the older ones. But I think also the reason I do that is because some of the stuff gets outdated and some things get changed. So for some of these workshops, I think it's just good to have that information as a hey, obtain this information from the get or from this information now so that you have it because it may change. So if you go back and you start watching one of my old videos, workshop or something, it's just like one of the main ones, like when I first started, like the tax exemptions. That was last year. The tax exemptions change yearly. The IRS changes the levels. They change what you can file and stuff like that. So, I think. Question from Red Akuma is, let me see. I should be able to highlight these. Did I highlight it? Oh, there you go. So there's the highlighted question. The question is, with Elon having access to everyone's private information, do you think that it enough affect will it affect our disability or compensation from the VA? So I don't think that monetarily wise it is going to be a difference. I don't think so. I don't think they are going to try to mess with the money we are receiving for the compensation of people that are already receiving compensation. I think what's going to happen with these changes to disability is the time to get stuff done. It's going to be a process of our backlog is going to increase because of Elon stuff. Because the thing is, you got to remember, like I said, there was over 1,000 plus personnel that were fired or dismissed. Then we don't know the number of people that are choosing to resign and go, even though some people have been dismissed and they're trying to get them back. But that causes a backlog. If you have people that are working under uncertainty, nobody works well under those conditions. Like, am I going to have a job? Am I not going to have a job? Nobody works under those conditions well in any facet of working. Now, removing certain positions, removing certain areas, we don't have a layout of what it is. So depending on who is being dismissed, who's being replaced, who has to now be retrained, who's going to take over, it's going to do a lot of stuff that is going to affect veterans when it comes to your CMP exam. It may be longer out, or you may need to see a doctor. If we can't have the funding to contract doctors, then you may have a longer wait time to see somebody. So it's not necessarily, I don't think what's going to happen is us as veterans losing benefits or our compensation. It's a restructuring of what benefits may be available also. So it's just like, hey, they want to save money. Yeah, they're cutting people here, they're cutting there. Once they finish with the cutting of the stuff, like you could already see that some programs are being taken apart. They say, hey, the Department of Veteran Affairs is going to be left alone. The VA secretary, I think Doug Collins, I think his name is, I forget his name. He just basically said that the benefits and compensation is not going to be taken over. The problem is that what else is going to be taken over? And that's where we have a problem, because it's like you don't really know. We don't really know what else is going to happen. We know what's happened so far. He has access. The access to our information is wrong, clearly, but he can't do nothing with that. He's not going to change outcomes. The thing is just like you got to the hiring freeze. That's also going to be a thing that slows down stuff because you can't hire more people. If we were already understaffed with dealing with veterans, you're removing people. People are going to resign, and a hiring freeze. That's going to be a backlog that increases because now you're putting more pressure on a lesser amount of people to get stuff done. If contracting goes down or some budgetary functions, because the thing is like your compensation may not change, but the budgetary appropriations for contracting may change. The appropriations for hiring specific personnel in the VA may change. That's where I think it's going to be the biggest thing. I don't think they want to piss off 19 million veterans by saying they're going to take their stuff. So it's just like there's more underlying factors than us losing our compensation. Because the thing is if you have the compensation, you have the compensation. There's no real way of taking that away unless you have shown that you are improving. But remember, in April, final action date for tinnitus, waiting on that. Final action date in April for sleep apnea, waiting on that. The final action for mental health was supposed to be in April, but now it got pushed to August for the final action date. Those are all going to be major differences. A lot of people don't really want to listen to it, but a lot of the stuff that's in Project 2025 is what they are trying to accomplish. And a lot of the stuff was already there. So when it came to benefits, some of it was there's a part in there that a lot of veterans ain't paying attention to and didn't realize, maybe because they were already 100% and they didn't really care for anything else. But the fact that you may not be able to claim secondary claims or get compensated for secondary claims because they weren't caused by your time in the military. That alone changes millions of veterans' disability claim. That changes it drastically if you tell them, hey, you can no longer file secondaries. Or, hey, once tinnitus gets changed to whatever it does, if they're making it so that you don't get that 10%, now you don't have the ability to secondary connect from tonight. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different things that people need to pay attention. People are, I think, are more worried about the disability and the compensation. And I don't think these people are dumb enough to actually try to mess with that and try to mess with compensation that veterans earned. But you never know, because the thing is if Elon is the one that's requesting this stuff and Elon is the one saying, you know what? We don't need that. You know what? This program isn't to a benefit of us, then you run into problems. That's the problem. So that's the I'm gonna make this one. So that's the biggest issue. Ah, man. That's the biggest issue where veterans need to. Hey, we need to wake up. Need to start calling our representative. Start harassing even state legislatures. Start harassing people all the way up, making calls and stuff like that. Because it's just like, hey man, I want to know what's going on. What are y'all proposing? What are y'all changing? What is Congress doing to try to work with this, or what are they trying to stop? Because the thing is like, yeah, right now he just went into the VA and people lost jobs. Most of them were probationary, which still doesn't amount to it because some of these people get switched from other departments and got those jobs and now are losing out on that. So there's a ton of different things that is just like need to be factored in. but I don't see it happening. I can't say that with a sure face that it won't happen, but I don't see us as veterans losing all that. I don't see us as veterans losing that. I don't see us losing benefits. Well, I don't see us losing compensation. I do see us losing benefits though. Certain benefits will be removed. Certain programs already, they have already started removing certain programs. Like I know I had somebody on TikTok tell me that at the VA they worked with, it was a older lady that provided like a class or something. I forget what the class was, but provided a class with and for veterans. She is no longer under contract or was basically removed, and that was a program that she was doing weekly, I believe, to assist veterans. Now that program isn't there. And that's where I think the scarier part I think is cuz of that. Cuz of the fact that it's just like, hey, we have the budget to do this, but the money isn't going to that. I was just like, "Oh, they want to have this facility or something like that." I was just like, "You know what? This program is here." I was like, "Let's take example let's say the VRE program. It has 5 different tracks, right, that you can go that can help you with employment. But if we decide that, you know what, not enough people are using this. Not enough people are using this track within the VA. So it's just like, oh, so let's just see. Uh with the post tab, because it has the reemployment, rapid access to employment, self-employment, employment through long-term services, and independent living. Well, rapid access to employment and reemployment, they could just be like, well, that's the same damn thing. Even though it's 2 different programs within the same program of the VRE, it's 2 separate things. But they could just be like, look, rapid access to employment and reemployment, same shit. We're cutting this different program with different funding to it. Self employment is the same thing as independent living. Or, you know what I'm saying? They can make those justifications to limit certain things. And that's still a budget cut, because it's like the people that were getting paid to do that rapid access to employment, or the ones doing the reemployment, may now lose their jobs because it's just like, well, veterans ain't using this. Why are we going to keep on spending the money on it? The same thing happened also with active duty recently with the credentialing assistance. Before, with the credentialing assistance, you were able to use the credentialing assistance. I believe it was $4,000 a year the whole time. So if you did 20 years and you used the credentialing assistance for 20 years, you would have been able to get $80,000 worth of credentialing if you did one every year. So you were able to get $4,000 in credentialing assistance. Now there is, I forget what they changed it to, but there's a limitation where I think you get up to $4,000 for a certain amount of time. It's no longer you get it for your whole, you could do it every year if you wanted to. Now there's a certain stipulation as to how many times people can use it and stuff like that. Why? Because the program was there, but people weren't using it. Same thing with the tuition assistance. Tuition assistance. If service members, if we got in the army, we got like what, I think it's like 450,000 people or something like that. If we got that many people in the army, and let's say only 100,000 are actually using the tuition assistance, that's an easy thing that they could just be like, we're gonna cut this shit. It isn't that important. There's 300,000 people that don't use this program that is available to service members, which is free. Well, let's cut the funding. That's where it's just like, that's why the scary part is there. It's just like the jobs part, I'm not concerned with. I'm concerned more with the different changes that may happen and may be implemented because of like those implementations. I think is good. What's the biggest thing for me? How does it change community care? Community care is going to be a whole shitstorm come the next couple of months, because it's just like, if they're cutting funding for it or rearranging funding, what money is going to contracting? Are the contractors that we have good? Because remember, some CMP examiners are trash, but they're still under contract. So it's a lot of factors. They're not going to take your money outright. They're going to do stuff that'll make it difficult for veterans moving forward to obtain the same stuff that veterans prior had. That's one thing I do believe will happen. I was just like the changes to tinnitus, changes to um sleep apnea, changes, all these different changes make it more difficult, excuse me, make it more difficult for veterans to get to where they need to get to. If it's to get to 100%, it's like, hey, you can't use tinnitus as a secondary connection one, or sleep apnea isn't rated the same, even though they are saying that with the mental health changes, it may be more beneficial. But the thing is you still got to fit the criteria, documentation, all that stuff. But if your VA rater is trying to take care of like 90 something people in a month, yeah, you're gonna some are gonna slip through the cracks. If we don't have enough people doing the job, like we were already behind and we were under $6 billion for this past year, going into this year. Did they explain where it was and what it was? No. The VA uses a lot of pilot programs that a lot of people aren't aware of and don't pay attention to. And that's money that's also being spent into that, because it becomes the research and development of, let's say, because I know they had a app. I forget what it was called, but it was like they had an app that they were using and it was just like a pilot program. So it's just like, hey, we made this app, people were using it, we were trying to see how it works or how it didn't. Not enough people were using it. So literally all that money that was spent into contracting somebody to develop this app, maintain the app, service the app, was just basically spent and not used because now the app doesn't exist. So it's just like, gotta keep that in mind. Pay attention to your state. That's the other thing. People need to pay attention to their state legislature. Because the thing is look, the way I see it is, if you look at the laws like for tax exemptions, property tax, um, even like licenses, all that stuff, a lot of this stuff is outdated. A lot of the stuff in these states have not been updated since like the 80s. We've had a couple of conflicts since then. Like a lot of the stuff is basically meant for like there's certain states that have like World War I stuff. Like their laws still have like for World One. War I can't even talk. War World One. There we go. It took me a bit to say, but some of the stuff that's in there is from those days and it hasn't been updated. We have people coming from Desert Storm, people coming from Afghanistan, people coming from Iraq. Certain legislatures being pushed now also that is for Afghanistan and Iraq, like the registry for there was something that just came out recently, and I try to get to the VA news doc, like the news.va.gov, and for some reason it doesn't really populate. It's like I'm having problems loading up the page. Like if the VA news is like, I'm not gonna say non-existent, but I don't know if they fired somebody that was working on it or maintaining it, because it's not loading up. So I can't go to the VA news to go directly and see what they have information on in news. So it's kind of I wouldn't say nerve wracking, but it's just like this is stuff that isn't being pushed out because we don't have that information now. Yeah, it won't load for some reason. So, but that's what I'm saying. That's the stuff that's there that is just like, okay, this is stuff that's important for people to realize and learn. This is all there. If I can't get to va.gov, that's a problem. Because then what's the issue? Do we know? Is it budget cuts? I was like, that's gonna be like, I remember when we were in service and stuff, and it was just like when we just had to improvise, and our go to was budget cuts. It's like you needed to build something or something, and you just did a makeshift budget cuts. When you were out in the range and you had to play op 4, but you didn't have any blanks, and you just had to bang, 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 you down, bang. Remember that? That's kind of budget cuts we're dealing with right now. Thing is we don't know where the funding's going. We don't know where it's coming from. Like, there's a lot of stuff there, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like there's a lot of stuff to like. That's why I've just been trying to figure this stuff out. Put it like that. There's a lot of changes, a lot of stuff going on within this country right now that is just like things you want to say but shouldn't say. Things that I'm gonna say anyway, but it's those instances and the issues that we're dealing with right now that it's just we got to pay attention to this stuff. This is all stuff that is just like, hey, for veterans, y'all got questions, ask them. Am I gonna be able to answer some of these questions? Like that question you asked. Very, very important and very in-depth question, but some of the things we're looking at and worrying about are the wrong things. Like I said, if you have healthcare and now your appointment just got extended a couple of months because the person that they had is no longer in the contract or something like that, that's a big change. If you got your 100% PNT, chances are they ain't gonna touch it. They're gonna be like, you know what? You there? You 100% PNT. At some point, you gonna pass. That's 100% PNT we ain't paying. That's the way I think they're looking at it. I was just like, because you got to remember, a lot of the generation now, a lot of the PACT Act veterans are Vietnam era veterans, which are older in age now. So there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lessening of numbers there because they're of old age. It's hard to say that. It's just straight up. It's just like they're older, so they're gonna start passing. So those aren't gonna be there anymore. Now it's gonna be the influx of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, and it's the same thing, same process. Takes a couple of years. We'll probably have like 10 years off, um, and then we'll start World War III or start something crazy or get into another conflict, and then we're gonna have another wave of veterans to join and be a part of that process. It's just what are we doing to assist these veterans? And that's why it's like me doing this. It's just like at least I know that whatever active duty service members tune in would at least have a better understanding of what it is of what they are going to do, what they're going to be processing, what they are going to be evaluated as, so that they understand. It's just like, hey, keep your documentation, keep your paperwork, be, how can I say, this is one of those instances where you want to be proactive. That's where any veteran, even if you're an older veteran, new veteran, you want to be proactive of what you're doing. These things are these things ain't going on anywhere. The CFR isn't going anywhere. Are there going to be changes? Yes. Are we for sure what they are? No, because they're still revising. When it says effective date, then you know it's going to happen. But like I said, with this Doge stuff, VA changes, new VA secretary, and then the fact that the VA secretary is now head of two other positions is like he's not going to be able to concentrate on one job when he's the lead person for three agencies. Why that's happening blows my mind. I have no idea, but it was like, how do you expect that to be a substantial benefit when the person in charge can't even be fully engulfed in the issues that he's trying to fix, but then also him dealing with the stuff from an outside interpretation to give him information to do what he has to do. So those are the things that are just like, now I need to fulfill this information through whatever Doge tells me or whatever Donald Trump tells me or whatever Elon tells me. I was just like, this is what they want me to do with the VA, and he's gonna go and do what they tell him he should do with the VA. So that's where it's just like, yeah, he's an Iraq vet, so that's a plus. So he understands the stuff, but then it's also how much is he gonna defend and fight for veterans when it comes to people telling him that what he's doing needs to be changed or fixed, and they're not veterans. So that's going to be an interesting position to it's going to be an interesting position to watch moving forward because of the fact that it's just like, hey, what are the chances of this changing? What are the chances of this happening? What's the best scenario coming out of this for us as veterans? And those are the things that as veterans we need to pay attention to. I was just like, we don't know. We can hope for the best, but then also we can come together as veterans, start talking about this, and start talking to the people that make these changes or make these laws or make these bills, um, and we could do it that way. That's the best way. That's the best way of explaining it to people. It's like veterans, just keep an eye out, pay attention to what it is. There's a big divide between veterans right now, which veterans don't want to talk about, but it's there. Um, and it's just like at the end of the day, we're all just veterans. No matter what, no matter what your point of view is, your feelings, your political affiliations, your political thoughts, your process, or anything, you're still a veteran. You still get rated under the CFR. You still have to do a CMP exam. You still have to get through a VA rater. You're still going to go through that process no matter what you did in service, what you did out of service, who you follow, who you believe, what you think is right or wrong. We are still under the same information, same documentation. That shit hasn't changed. So it's just like no matter all the bickering that's going on isn't going to make a difference or benefit anybody. Why? Because where are you going to get to? What what value are you bringing to the veteran community if you're not assisting other veterans and putting your differences aside to make sure that we as a whole are doing better? Those are the questions that need to be asked. Because do I have an answer? Yeah, I got an answer. I've tried to help and work with veterans even if I don't agree with their views. The whole point of this is to assist them with information and bringing them awareness to what they need, not how you politically feel or how you felt about this or you disregard. Like all those things can be changing and all those things can make a difference, but it's just like, hey, what are we doing to establish and make sure that we as veterans are doing the right thing, are preparing the right way, are understanding the CFR, going through it. Like I said, this document here, man, this right here, Code of Federal Regulations, one of the most important documents that vets have no idea what the hell it is. Never seen it, never heard of it, never thought. Like, those are the things. That's why it's just like, got to do that. Like I said, educate yourselves. Check out the website. Check out our posts. Check out our community posts. Become a member because we're gonna start making those. It'll just be member lives where it's just like we'll talk about this stuff and go more in depth on it. We have our workshops. We have our Q&As. We have our did you knows. We have our veteran quick tips. We will make other videos and guides, which are also part of the website, which I need to fulfill the frequently asked questions, which is basically questions that most veterans ask or like the highly asked questions. And that's questions coming from just like VA studies, trying to find them, pull them out, see like, hey, what was the highest rated things or what was the most rated things? The most claimed ones, we did a video on that, but that information there is also important because that shows you is like, hey, most of the people in the service always have these. Some are service connected, some are presumptive issues, and then you have the PACT Act being added. All those different programs, all these different things go a long way. The VA is always adding programs. The thing is they don't do a great job of announcing these programs out to veterans. They just swear that your transitioning process was spectacular and you got all this information and you were able to remember everything and you were able to. No, it doesn't work that way. Most of us don't remember what we ate last night, let alone I'm going to remember what the va.gov site offers with all the information and all the links and all the. So it's just like, that's. It's crazy to think that they actually think that we remembered all this. Like we've seen all this, we paid attention to it. I was like, all this stuff is important information, but we can't. Nobody's gonna be able to remember all this to be able to explain it and give that information to another veteran. I was just like, I'm doing my best I can with these workshops, but it's like these workshops get to a certain point where it's just like information will be updated, information may be changed, certain things may just get removed in its entirety. So it's just like, you know what? Well, yeah, that program no longer there. But it's just like, hey, if we have this program or we need this program, veterans need to get together, make a petition or something. I was like, hey, man, y'all got rid of this and we were using this. But nobody says that. You don't fill out those surveys, those ICE surveys, and all those questionnaires that they send you after you get treatment. That goes a long way. You need to start filling those things out. We have to be a voice for ourselves because otherwise we got people that never served making these decisions. That shit doesn't help because they don't understand what we went through. They don't understand the difficulties. They don't understand none of that. But that's something that us as veterans, we know. They don't know. Same thing with the VA raiders. Goes hand in hand. It's just like, tell your story. Don't hesitate to tell your story. Not everybody's going to be a fan. Not everybody's going to like you. A lot of people are going to dislike you. Most people are going to agree with you. Some people may not follow you anymore. They may block you. Or they may, whatever the case may be. But if you're helping out veterans, that's the biggest thing. If you're helping veterans, taking care of veterans, making sure they're taken care of and everything is like that, it's not that big of an issue. It's just that when we're not doing that, we're not taking care of each other. That's when we run into these problems. That's when we run into the difficulty of being able to say, you know what, I got this. You know what, I don't got this. I was just like, okay, now I have the problem. It's just like, so what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Who am I supposed to ask? Who am I supposed to talk to? Like all those things are vital things and vital questions that most veterans don't ask, don't know, and ends up failing for them. So just keep that all in mind. It's a very there's a lot of aspects to becoming a veteran that most veterans don't know. Most active duty service members don't know what it is to become a veteran because they're still serving. They're not concerned with this stuff. They're not paying attention to this stuff. They have no idea what the changes or what may be implemented or what not may not be implemented. They have no idea because they're still serving. The same way when you were still serving, you didn't know anything about the VA. VA. What do I care about the VA? What do I care about the CFR changing? What do I care about mental health ratings change? You don't care for none of that because you didn't need it at that point. But once you start needing it, that's when we start making a ruckus, and by then it's too late. So that's why it's just like for all the stuff that we're doing now, let's pay attention. Let's make a voice out of it. Let's talk to people. Let's talk to other veterans. It's just like not even to have an argument, just to have an open discussion. You're not going to agree on anything, but hey, remember them AAR comments where you always had an AAR and someone's just like, if you don't got a solution to the problem, you shouldn't be saying anything. I was like, bro, no, I'm gonna state the problem because we need to know what the problem is. We need to make sure that people understand that there is a problem. Now we can have multiple people and everyone else looking into a solution. It shouldn't be that the one person has to provide that answer. It should be that as a whole, it was like, hey, we are falling behind on this department, this area. Oh, we're falling behind on the backlog. What's the answer to fixing the backlog? How do we fix? Do we have to hire more people? Do we change the criteria? Do we make it into separate sections to like differentiate what level is what? It's just like, oh, this is a quick one, this is not, or just like stuff like that. Because I think they could do that. It's just it takes time to implement. Like if let's say you have an appeal and you know you ain't gonna have nothing, you're not gonna add anything, and it's just like you're not adding any evidence, you just think they did something wrong, that should fall into a certain section where they could just go and just look, he's not adding anything. He just says that this criteria was wrong, what they did. And then when they check it, okay, you're right, you're wrong. They give you explanation and you're done. Shouldn't take 6 months, 7 months. Now, if you are providing more information, then it's a different thing because it's like, hey, we need to do a CMP exam or do extra stuff for this case. That falls into this department. Oh, this just wants to go straight to a judge. They go to the judge. So like to differentiate it, but within its sections do it so that way it's easier to manage. But tons of ideas. I don't know who listens to them, but we'll see. But all right, y'all. Um, we'll say that this was good, except figuring out that TikTok, takes some time to figure out the sound thing. I was talking to nobody for well, they saw me talking, they couldn't hear it. Um, but yeah, like I said, we are on Facebook. We are on We're not streaming on Instagram right now, but we do have an Instagram. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch. All channels are viable. Everything is operating properly. Everybody can hear everything. And it's just Q&As. We'll be doing these a bit more. We'll start doing these across the week. It'll most likely be, I would say, the time frame of one something central time to like about three-ish. So maybe get like an hour and a half to an hour of these. Annette, thank you as always for tuning in. Thank you for being a member. You be safe. Enjoy your nice 61-degree weather. I am going to try to keep warm here in this negative degree weather. But yeah, that's all it is. We have all these channels. Make sure to check out the website. If you see something on the website, if a link doesn't send you to the right thing, go to the record brief. Go to record brief, which is here. You can go to contact us. Name. You don't have to fill out your actual name. You can put like a nickname or something like that. Email will be required, so I know who I'm responding to, and your message. Send it and see what we can do, how we can assist you. Um, in any case, basically, just so that you know what information it is. If you have a comment, suggestion, something that you would like to see, or something you would like to be covered on a workshop or something like that, make sure to send it that way, because then I have like actual messages, actual documentation of somebody reaching out saying, "Hey, I would like to talk about this," or just tune in every Sunday. We have our workshops. Just ask any questions you have. We'll get you an answer. Or throughout these the Q&As are just basically going to be Q&As, and I'll just basically try to do my best to work on the website while we're doing these. If not, it's just going to be just chatting and just talking about certain things. So just keep that in mind when it comes to hanging out. Make sure you have your notifications on. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so. Make sure you're liking the lives whenever you catch them. It helps push out to more veterans and stuff. But yeah, Q&As will happen more often. We'll do that. We'll try to gain more visibility for people. Like I said, we're all on all platforms now, so that'll be a benefit for veterans. If you know any veterans that have questions, need assistance, send them our way. Send them here. While we're doing this throughout the week, questions will be answered, and on Sundays it'll just be a more defined structure of what we're going to be going over. Like I said, the following couple of weeks is going to be going over the CFR and just explaining how it works, what the explanations are, and just being a bit more in depth as to people understanding how to use it, where to look at, and what information is important to them or will be viable for them to use when that happens. So that way you have that information, because that's stuff that's very, I would say, is very important for people to have and know, that most people don't know. So appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Be safe. It is Tuesday, the 18th. There's no recap. So for YouTube, there's no recap video being pushed out because on Sunday we had a workshop, but it was more of a state of affairs and talking about all the different stuff that has happened within the VA the past couple of times. So yeah, that's all I got, y'all. So appreciate y'all. Be good to one another. Take care of one another. Look out for one another. Love one another. And be good to and stay marvelous while doing it at all times. I'm just Cruz. This is the Veteran Awareness Project Q&A / workshop / hangout. I appreciate y'all. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.